Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Norman Happ. Norm Happ is Easy Texting's CEO. Previously, he was at Evernote since 2016 as Senior Vice President of Sales and Partnerships, and he was responsible for growing company revenue worldwide. Having previously spent 8 years in go-to-market executive roles within Intuit's small business group, he knows the challenges of high-velocity software-as-a-service sales. Norm founded technology companies and has worked at other Fortune companies such as H&R Block. Well, good afternoon, Norm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
This is great. I was looking over at your background, and you've got quite an extensive career there, and you've had multiple roles in executive leadership, and now you're the CEO of Easy Texting. When in your career did you realize that CEO was part of your career strategy?
You know, it began back actually in about 1998 when I founded a company over in the Netherlands, an electronic bill presentment and payment company called Anacron. You know, and with that experience, I got a really great view across every function in an organization. Got to work with investors, customers, partners, the product team, customer support team, and built across all those different functions. That was a wonderful sort of teaser for me. But then I realized I didn't really have the expertise to execute well and really be a great leader across those functions. And with a little inspiration from Jack Welch and his book about building leaders, I actually took a role in your neck of the woods at H&R Block, and it was a rotationary role that gave me some really great exposure across so many different executive functions in the company. And I did a really broad rotation that helped prepare me for M&A, for finance, for go-to-market, for marketing, for legal, all these different things. And so that was a really great sort of development opportunity for me that helped me go from being inspired by looking across all the different functions to actually feeling a lot more capable.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I did notice that, you spent some time here in Kansas City, so good for you. You wish you were here during the Super Bowl, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I might have been there during some not so great Chiefs years, but hey, it was a heck of a fun time. It's a wonderful city.
It really is a small, big city. Hey, Norm, so let's talk about your product, Easy Texting. This has been touted as delivering the fastest, easiest, and most reliable way to connect. Are you leveraging any emerging technologies that you can speak to?
Yeah, so, I would say that text messaging is sort of a hidden gem. It's been around for a long time. And one of the things that I've come to appreciate and love about text messaging is the effectiveness of the medium. And it's a very antiquated technology, but applying the latest capabilities around data science, machine learning, other things like that, you can actually take it from being sort of a stale technology to being something that you can really provide a lot more precision around. So different than email marketing, the technology, when it's delivered, you actually get about a 23% open rate for messages that come through email. And we have almost 100% open rate for text. And that's across many different age groups. It's not just the younger generation. And as we apply machine learning and some big data strategies, we can really optimize that click-through rate, make sure we're hitting the right audiences, and help businesses actually be far more effective in connecting with their audiences.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, as you know, and there's different variations of SMS today, as you know, or apps that utilize that technology. But it's amazing. I think it's the most effective when you're trying to get a hold of somebody or send a patient reminder, that sort of things. I think there's a lot of potential still with that platform. So thank you for sharing.
Sure. One thing I'd love to add is, when it comes to developments in the space, we have really thought deeply about how business owners are really wearing so many hats these days, and picking up a telephone is as much as they want to connect live with their customers, it's very difficult. And so they all end up, or many of them end up, doing a lot of, searching within their voicemail box and trying to constantly play catch up. And so we developed a product called Text to Landline, and it actually takes any standard business phone number that every company out there has, and we turn it into a textable number. And with that textable number, it turns that requirement for synchronous communication of voice And using that exact same phone number, we can turn into asynchronous communication, which is far better for customers and far better for those small business owners. And as you look at sort of the way that customers want to engage, they actually, again, across all age groups are showing that they'd much rather engage with a business via text than they may have desired even just a few years ago.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And I think it's part of it's just generational, but I think part of it is also the technology now is just, it's so available and it's so in your face that that's kind of the norm, right? I appreciate you sharing. That's a good point. So Norm, your product has been on the market for several years now. However, with the global pandemic that we're experiencing today, how has your strategy shifted and were you prepared for this new way of doing business?
Yeah, so I'll start with the customer, and our customers, initially or over the past many years, have engaged with us around promotions and some notifications to their prospects, customers, and employees. They've really shifted a lot, or is a pretty earth-shattering shift that occurred beginning in February, to really concentrating on the notifications use case. When you need to let your employees know not to report to work, what PPE to wear, other things like that. Email is certainly not the tool, and text has been an effective choice for many of these businesses. And then with their customers, we're finding that there was a pretty earth-shattering shift towards protocol-related, engagement-related messaging with customers around, we now offer curbside pickup. Here's the requirements for entering our business. Here are our updated hours. Other things like that really help them, again, ensure that message resonated with their audience and was delivered. When you ask about our own company, we had really been doing pretty extensive testing on work from home beginning a few months after I started last year. And we had a pretty seamless transition towards a remote workforce, so much so, and with certain metrics that we closely monitor, we saw such an uplift in our business and our employee engagement that we shifted over and actually are going to be operating exclusively from a remote or work from anywhere model.
That's amazing. I love how people, and I just talked about this on a previous podcast, where people may have had either on the brink of, releasing a product, or maybe it was on their shelf getting dust. But with COVID, I think we truly have advanced innovation and transformation 2, 3, 4 years in advance because of this pandemic. And I think that's just simply amazing. So Norm, this is the big question, at least for our audience. They want to know more about you, right? They want to know about our guests. Can you share something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking either to grow their career in product management or executive leadership?
Absolutely. So one of the areas that I gained deep appreciation for was what we called at Intuit aha moments, and it was gaining deep customer insights. And that was through direct engagement with customers. And this is observation and we called it Follow Me Homes. And during the 8 years that I was with Intuit, we really ingrained in our people the importance of getting those deep customer insights, those things that you saw by observation. And it was really exciting for me to see how much product innovation and business innovation can come from just really working closely with your prospects and your customers in a one-on-one or a direct setting. This is certainly complemented by deep dives into data sets and other things that will help take an insight and turn it into action. But really those aha moments, those things where somebody was trying to solve a problem and you saw that problem being solved in a manual way or a roundabout way, that you could actually apply technology and actually really help them achieve their goals. The same is true, I would say, as an executive. So shifting from product management to executive leadership, it really is helping people get crystal clear on being customer back and focusing on solving that important customer problem. And as a leader, it's almost it's a core job for me to create a culture of learning about customers and finding those insights that are beneath the surface. And so I think I'm really taking that Intuit time, finding those aha moments, those keen insights, and then turning that into a culture at Easy Texting where we really think deeply about how can we uniquely solve an unmet customer need.
Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that, Norm, and I know our audiences would as well. So thank you. Norm, it was my pleasure having you on the show today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Bye for now.